So I'm going to talk about a touchy subject this morning. I actually talked about this last night with somebody, and I know it's really early to get serious. Go lay down. Go lay down. Ferris, not the time to not listen. Go lay down. Go lay down. Sorry. Go lay down now. No, thank you. Go lay down. Good dog. Go lay down. I hate having to get stern with him, but that's the only way he'll listen. Anyway, I know it's early to get serious, but so I'm trying to say this in a nice way. I'm going to talk about relationships. So lately, I have witnessed a lot of domineering type relationships that are like relationships from like the old days where men thought that, they were the man of the house, so they were allowed to speak to their wives however they wanted, and they were allowed to disrespect their wife and be demanding, treat their wife as if they were irrelevant, and as if they were like mainly like a slave. That's basically the way that I can say it. Like walking into a kitchen and sitting down at a table. Hello. Like walking into a kitchen and sitting down at a table and saying, "Get me water," or "Where's my dinner? Get me something to eat," or telling the wife, when she's trying to do something, "Get out of my way, go sit down," or "Get out of the room, I don't want to see you," or something like that. Or telling a wife, "I provide. You don't need to work. I'm not allowing you to work," or something along those lines, and not making her feel loved or relevant or like she's special or somebody. And I'm sure that it can go both ways. But I've just noticed that there's a lot of this going on. And I mean, I personally would never allow someone to do that to me. But I mean, I've been in a situation where I was made to feel irrelevant, and I was made to feel unloved and unwelcomed and unliked and undeserving. And no matter how much, I tried or even though she does all the work, he doesn't see that. Yeah, that's right. I was made to feel that way. I was made to feel that I was unloved and unliked and undesired, and I was made to feel that way. And it's not fun, because when you, as a woman, are begging for that attention, and you're begging for that love, and you're trying so hard for that companionship and that relationship, and you're ignored, and that person just doesn't get it and doesn't listen and doesn't hear, And there's a difference between listening and hearing. So you can hear something, but you aren't listening, because if you listen, then you're absorbing and you're hearing the words, and you're listening to everything they're saying, and you're taking it in, and you're understanding what they're saying, and then you're going to communicate it back. But if you're hearing, you're already thinking about like what you're going to say before they're even done talking. So you're not listening to anything they're saying. You're basically, their first sentence, you're already, well, I'm going to say blah, 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 blah. As soon as they're done, you're not hearing anything they're saying. So you're not even willing to hear anything they're going to tell you. So, like, if they come to you and they say, hun, I really want you to work with me on this. Like, I want you to meet me halfway. I want you to, you know, come to some kind of haha, you're funny. I want you to meet me halfway. Like, I want you to work with me on this. I want us to come to a compromise or something like that. And it's just like, boom, boom, going in one ear, out the other. So, hello. So, in that situation, that's a good way to end up alone. And when you make that person feel like they're a nobody, they're not going to be happy. And that's going to make them feel like they're not wanted. And that's going to make them feel very alone and very unhappy and very sad. And it's going to make them feel irrelevant. And it's going to make them feel like, why are they there? You know, I know in my situation, I kind of felt like I'm just here to be Susie Homemaker. I'm here to be Betty Crocker. I'm here to be a taxi cab. I'm here to be like a housewife. Like and I'm here to make money and provide and help, but I'm not here for anything else. And I didn't have a title other than those. I wasn't treated like a wife. I wasn't loved like a wife. I wasn't loved like I should have been. And, well, thank you. And this was a while ago. This was like a year and a half ago, to almost 2 years ago. And even though I begged for that, it wasn't perceived. And things happened. And, of course, I was hurt. I was devastated over some things. But during that, I found myself. And I stood up on my own 2 feet, and I became independent, and I learned how to love myself, and I learned that I don't need anybody. I don't need anybody. I can be by myself, and I can do it on my own. I want. And there's a difference between needing someone in your life and wanting someone in your life. And I want my husband in my life. I don't need my husband in my life. I mean, I need him to love me. I need that love and that affection, yes. But I don't need him to support me. I don't need him to take care of me. I can do that on my own. I'm independent. But I had to learn that on my own. And there are more women that are being suppressed. And I'm finding that I have come across more women now, and I've met more women in the last probably 2 years that are more like me than I ever realized. And hello. And I'm kind of shocked. And one of the other things is a lot of the women my age, um, especially if they are, and I don't know why, don't ask me why, especially if they are farmers, have grown up with that mentality of you're my wife, your job is to be in the kitchen and in the bed, and that's not true. For some reason, they have that old-fashioned, I want to say Southern mentality of woman, where's my breakfast? Woman, where's my lunch? Woman, where's my dinner? Your job's to take care of the house and the kids and the meals and the laundry, and that is your job. That is your title. That is all you are, period. End of discussion. And that's just not the way it is today. There are more women out there supporting their families than people realize. There are more women in the work world nowadays than people realize. And there are more women out there that are in higher positions than anyone realizes. I have a friend that was one of the first women to be a supervisor in MoDOT. She was in charge of everybody in MoDOT. And that right there is an honor because one, no woman had ever done that before. And she was. And she was in charge of all men. And you know how many times she got looked down on? All the time. Because men would come in and engineers would come in and they would look down on her thinking she was some little peon worker and talk down to her, and then she'd be like, let me put you in your place. I'm your boss. And she would school them. She'd put them in their place. And she retired from MoDOT. And she is an amazing woman. But it's things like that that they have to like almost have like a smack across the face to open their eyes. But I've just watched and seen things happen that I am just like, wow, what would I do if I was in that situation? Because I've watched the one thing that's never happened to me. I've never had, my husband would never and has never demanded anything out of me. If he ever walked into a room and said, get up and get me some water, I'd probably flip out on him. If he ever walked into a room and said, where's my dinner? Get up and go fix me dinner, I would tell him what to do with himself. I'd look at him and be like, So my monster, and if any of you have seen my other videos, my monster is the man who claimed to be my father, who beat me every day of my life until I was 10, until my dad picked me up from Texas and brought me to Missouri and raised me. So my monster believed that he was a king of the household. And he believed that women were put on this earth to serve men. And he believed that men were superior to all. And that women were nothing but peons, and that women didn't deserve any respect at all whatsoever. And that is why he treated women the way he did. And that included me. So we were to serve him. And he would demand for whatever woman he had for the flavor of the week, had to worship him and do anything and everything he said at all times, or they got the shit beat out of them. And that is the way he was. And when his late wife was on her deathbed with cancer, that woman was getting up at 2 and 3 o'clock in the morning and making him dinner or making him some food because he was hungry in the middle of the night. And I can remember going down and visiting my niece who was dying of cystic fibrosis. And I can remember my sister-in-law being in the kitchen, and she was making breakfast, and the monster was there. And I was sitting in the living room, and she was needed by my niece. And my niece's nurse came and got her and said, hey, I'm not going to say my niece's name, needs you. And so my sister-in-law went and started to leave. And the monster, his name is Emery, was like, where you going? And she said, my daughter needs me. And he said, you're not done with breakfast yet. I need my breakfast. And she goes, I'm sorry, my daughter needs me. And he goes, well, I'm hungry. I want my breakfast. I was like, what the hell? Like, that is his granddaughter. Like, when she needs something, now mind you, she has cystic fibrosis. The girl is dying. And all he cared about was whether or not my sister was going to make him breakfast or not. And she wasn't making breakfast for him. She was making breakfast for everybody. And I piped up and I looked at him and I said, are your legs broken? And he just looked at me. I said, are your arms broken? No. Then get your ass up and go fix it yourself. Well, she was making breakfast. I said, your point is what? She's needed elsewhere. You want your breakfast? Get up and go make it yourself. And he just shut up and he sat there. So my sister goes back and finishes up with my niece, and she comes back in there, and he was still sitting there. And he was like, well, how much longer till breakfast? And I go, that is none of your business. You're going to sit there and shut your mouth, and you're going to wait until she's done. And he doesn't like, first of all, he's scared of me. And because I don't tolerate him, and I do not tolerate chauvinism. And he learned with me, you do not speak like that in front of me because I will put you in your place. So needless to say, he was put in his place a lot that weekend. And hello, we were on our way. I went and picked him up, being kind. I did not want him in my car. But we were on our way, and I told him, you cannot smoke in my car. And I get in the car, and I told him, you got 2 minutes to get ready or I'm leaving you. And he was not ready. And I got in my car and I started to leave. And he was like, hello. And he was not ready. And I got in my car and I started to leave. He was like, wait, wait, wait. I'm coming. I'm coming. And so he gets in the car and I said, you can't smoke in my car. So we're leaving and I'm driving. This asshole pulls out a cigarette. And I said, what are you doing? I need a cigarette. I said, what did I tell you? You cannot smoke in my car. Well, I'm your daddy. I'll do whatever I want. I said, no. First of all, you're not my daddy. My dad is in Missouri. Secondly, this is my car. I said, you cannot smoke in my car. And that is exactly what I meant. So you either put that cigarette away or you're going to walk back home. He kept the cigarette. He started to roll the window down. I said, you cannot smoke in my car. And he said, well, I'm going to push it out the window. I'm going to smoke it out the window. I said, you cannot smoke in my car. And he said, well, I can't sit in the car for an hour and a half drive and not smoke. And I said, okay. So I pulled over on the side of the road. I said, get out. And he goes, for what? I said, I told you, you cannot smoke in my car. I'm not kidding. Get out. He's like, you're going to kick me out of your car for smoking? And I go, yep. Get out of my car. Fine, I'll put the cigarette away. And I took the cigarettes from him. What? You're not going to? No. He was like, I'm your dad. You don't tell me what to do. And I go, oh, but I do. Because this is my car. You don't tell me what to do. I'm a grown-ass woman. You do not tell me what to do. Oh my God. That man had to be schooled so many times. But he thinks because he's a man that he just had to be in charge of everything. And that is how he mistreated people. So my point of this whole thing, have respect. Have respect for, and I'm not just saying, I'm not here to pick on men. I'm just saying, have respect for the other person. Whether it's your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your husband, whoever, your kid, whatever. Have respect for them. Don't be demanding and don't be belittling. I mean, think about how you would feel if you were in that position and you were being belittled like that. And one of the things that I told someone recently that was in this situation that was being demanded of by their spouse, and basically being treated as if they were nothing in their home, was do a role reversal. Go home and tell your husband, you know what? I want to do a role reversal for a day. So for one day, I want you to do what I do. And I want to be what you are for a day. And I'm going to treat you the way you treat me for one day. Because I want you to see how it feels. Because if marriage counseling doesn't work, take it into your own hands. Because there's only two options. Either do the role reversal and put him in your shoes, or leave. Let him be on his own for a couple of months. Let him find out what it's like, or her find out what it's like without you for a couple of months. Because either one or two things are going to happen. They're going to wake up and they're going to be like, damn, I had it made when they were here. And I really miss them. I need to straighten up. and I need to change my ways, and I need to be better, because if I don't, I'm going to lose the love of my life, which is what happened with me. Or you're just not going to have them back again, and you're going to go be happy, because you're going to lose that weight that was holding you down, and it just wasn't meant to be. And maybe that's what needed to happen. So I'm not trying to say go get, out of a relationship over it, but I'm just saying, you don't deserve to be disrespected. You don't deserve to be belittled and made to feel invisible, and you don't deserve to be someone's slave. No man in this world or woman in this world deserves to treat another person as if they're irrelevant, or as if they're supposed to just be some little slave at home. I'm sorry, but that is just not okay. And I know too many men who feel that way, that try to control the wife and try to, no, I'm not taking care of the kids. I'm not watching the kids so you can go have 5 minutes to yourself. That's not okay. The man gets all day to himself. Give your wife a few minutes to herself. Give her an hour. Let her go do something. Let her go on a walk. Let her go take a bubble bath. Let her do something. I know somebody who has not had not even 5 minutes away from her kids. Not once. Because the husband will not watch the kids at all. And I feel bad for her, because this is her and this is her husband. And he takes his thumb and he goes like this. And he just pushes her down. And he keeps her down. And he makes her feel small. And he makes her feel that she's irrelevant. He makes her feel like she is not deserving and that she is not important. And it is sad. It is so sad. She can't even pick out her own clothes. She can't choose anything for herself. He does all of that. And I'm sorry. I would never, ever, ever, ever allow that. If my husband ever told me what to wear and what I could not wear, there's the door right. You can see the door behind me. There it is right there. As long as I'm being modest and I am being appropriate, because I have a brain and I can think for myself, and I do not need someone telling me, you're not allowed to wear this, you're not allowed to wear that. Nope. If I'm not hurting myself and I'm not doing anything wrong, do not tell me that. So, I'm sorry. It's early in the morning to be on a subject like this, but it's been on my mind all night long. I had to get it out because I witnessed some things yesterday that just drove me insane, and I was very good because I kept my mouth shut. And normally I don't do that. I'm a very blunt person, but it really bothered me. I mean, it really bothered me. So I just wanted to get on here and talk about it. And I just wanted to say, you guys, if you guys have a wife that you love and is beautiful and takes care of you, respect her. Love her. Let her know she's loved. Let her know that she's respected. Let her know that you adore her and that you do respect her. And like, give her time to herself. And wives, do the same thing for your husband. Just make sure that they know that there's somebody and that they're relevant. And I mean, if you don't, it's just not going to end up well. And that's just all there is to it. So, anyway, that's what I wanted to say this morning. So, off of the really hard subject and heavy subject, you guys have a wonderful, beautiful Friday. Um, enjoy your weekend. I will be on here throughout the weekend. Um, and I hope everyone goes on and follow me. Subscribe. I am one person away from 2,000 followers. So somebody go and subscribe to me and follow me. You guys can also go on YouTube on my page where you go and hit subscribed. There's a thing that says community on there. You can go on there and you can comment, you can put questions, you can start conversations with me or anything like that. So go on there and you can talk to me and chat with me on there. So, anyway, subscribe to me and you can share my page. You can do all of that stuff. So, anyway, I will talk to you guys a little bit later.